Steve, L.A. County Sheriff in pursuit here. This one started in Carson, made its way up through Compton, through a cemetery. Now we've been zigzagging through Rosewood. He's now on, this is going to be Long Beach Boulevard here. So we've got a number of units behind him. It was a pursuit a little bit earlier, and then they graduated or decelerated it to surveillance mode. But it's been a very reckless pursuit. Apparently the original was indeed reckless driving. It's that white pickup there near the bottom of your screen, driving very erratically, registered to a female driver. We don't know the gender of the driver exactly. We have not laid eyes through that driver's side window quite yet. We should be able to do that momentarily. Looks like a male driver, but I'm not exactly sure. In the meantime, he is speeding through this residential neighborhood. Again, we're in the Rosewood area, coming up on the 105 here shortly. So again, a reckless driver out of Carson refused to pull over, and now L.A. County Sheriff on the tail here. They do not have a lot of black and whites immediately behind the pickup truck, but they are monitoring very closely. They have a number of black and whites in the surrounding area, as well as a helicopter overhead, and of course Skyfox all over this one, Steve.
And
he has slowed down. He has shown a pattern of slowing down for various stoplights and stop signs, but he's also come very close to hitting several pedestrians along the way. As I mentioned, at one point he was zigzagging through a cemetery in Compton, sped right past Compton Airport, and now has kind of slowed down a little bit, doing speeds 30, 40 miles per hour, somewhat along with what you would expect in these neighborhoods, but once he gets into these residential neighborhoods, he hasn't really gone quite as slow. Now he's crossing underneath the 105. So we're Long Beach Boulevard and the 105 crossing into Linwood. That's interesting because the registration of this pickup truck actually comes back to an address in Linwood. So he may, or she may very well be returning home, as we often see.
All right, so this has been mainly in the Compton, Willowbrook, Linwood area. It's been going on for how long at this point?
I would say at least the better part of about 40 minutes now, 45 minutes. Looks like a male driver, and now turned onto Walnut. Walnut off of Long Beach Boulevard here in Linwood. I would say, yeah, about 45 minutes they're going on in and out of pursuit mode. Right now, again, just a reminder, currently in surveillance mode, and that's primarily for the public safety. The public safety as well as officer safety, the primary concern right now because of the unpredictability of this driver. They feel they have enough information, enough intel on where he may be going, where this person may live, and so they don't want to unnecessarily ramp things up, if you will, if they don't have to. So they're going to follow this very closely as we are, and now he's in a residential neighborhood here in Linwood, guys.
And Chris, you say, now are there cops following him? Does he know that there are police that are following close behind at this point, or does he just see the chopper?
Yeah, you know, one would imagine that he's not completely clueless to the fact that he's being followed, but if he looks in his rearview mirror, he's not going to see many black and whites. We saw a number of black and whites on some of these surrounding blocks, and they were certainly tailing him from a distance. As you mentioned, he's also got the helicopter overhead. L.A. County Sheriff has a helicopter overhead. He's really doing a circle now through this neighborhood, over a curb. He's in.
Oh, it looks like he's pulling over a little bit right here. Oh, he's just trying to get around that truck.
Yeah, he just kind of squeezed through there. So now he's in oncoming lanes of traffic, squeezing through whatever parked cars and anything else in his way. And this is, again, another indication of just here's another black and white.
Joining us right now, pardon me, Chris, is a guy who knows all about this stuff. Dennis Zine, former LAPD. I remember when he was a motorcycle cop. He was a city council member. A lot of things. Dennis, as you're looking at this, what can you tell us?
Well, it's just another typical Los Angeles pursuit. Quiet residential area, and we see a black and white. He's now following the black and white, and now the black and white's going to be behind him. Just a typical Los Angeles pursuit with an individual wanted for some type of charge, maybe a misdemeanor or a felony charge. And I understand earlier in this pursuit struck a pedestrian. I don't think there was much damage or injury to the pedestrian, but it's a typical going through the residential areas, which causes great danger and harm to the people in the neighborhoods. And this will continue for a period of time. One of the problems that I see happening now with pursuits is they're backing off the black and whites. And when they back off the black and whites, the people see this reckless, careless driver going through stop signs, red lights, etc., driving in a very careless, reckless manner. They don't see any police around.
God, he just got really close to people. Sorry about that.
Yes.
Yep,
there's a 10-second delay between what I'm seeing on the screen and what you folks are seeing there in the studio.
We'll lead you if we have to.
Yeah, it looks like he's driving into some type of parking lot right now,
Right.
which is interesting. Instead of staying on the streets, like he might get caught. There's no way out where he is now. There seems to be a parking space in front, so he's backing up, getting very close to other vehicles as well.
Well, he doesn't know where he's going. He's just aimlessly driving, trying to elude the officers. But again, they've got a helicopter overhead, and the helicopter will stay with him along with Skyfox.
It's like he's
and
backing a
the
truck.
officers are there.
Dennis, we've learned a lot about pursuits and how to do them. When you were a motorcycle cop, we didn't have
Look at the guy. Wait, there's a guy that just a random guy in the parking lot where it looks like he's attempting to park a car coming out. I think it looks like he would be saying, like, what are you doing in here? Now he's attempting to get out of the car right now. He's jammed between another one. So he is getting out of his vehicle.
Parking next to another vehicle.
Yeah,
that looks like his. That looks very similar to the one he's driving.
He's getting out.
It looks like he's putting something in his pockets or taking something out.
Here he goes. Dennis, he's just stepped out of the vehicle at this moment.
Hands are up.
Hands are up. Hands are up. Okay. Take us through what happens now, Dennis.
Well, what will happen, they'll get him out of the vehicle, and they'll make sure that he doesn't have any weapons. They'll take him into custody. They'll get him on his knees, put the handcuffs on, secure him, and then check to make sure the truck is clear. And then they'll start sorting it out to find out what the situation is. So obviously he's cooperating now. I don't know why he went in the parking lot and parked his truck next to the other trucks, but you see deputies surrounding him. They've got their weapons out. They don't know if he's got a weapon or not. So he's cooperating at this time, and what they'll do is get him on the ground, and then they'll put the handcuffs on him. They'll approach. They'll have the cover officers.
Yeah,
and now he's on his, he's proned out. He's got his hands behind his head, locked his fingers, and the deputies will approach cautiously. They've got surrounding him. They've got sufficient deputies there, and they'll gingerly put the cuffs on him, take him into custody. So this is what we call a code 4. But what I was commenting on, Steve, is the technology they're using now and the procedure is they're backing off with the black and whites. And the problem with that is the motoring public sees a reckless driver. They don't know the police are chasing. They don't see the helicopter overhead. And then they're frightened. They're calling 911. They've got a concern for the safety. When you've got black and whites visible, people then know this person's trying to elude capture from the authorities. So the tactic that they're using now, I don't really see the logic in it because it creates more havoc in the community, and people are saying, where's the police? Why is this person driving in a careless, reckless manner? But that seems to be the trend that they're going and turn it over to the air unit, let the air unit observe, and then the units follow it at a safe distance. So it's a different procedure. We used to stay with the suspects until we apprehended them in a careful manner, but technology changes and procedures, tactics change. So I don't really think it's the best procedure that they're utilizing. But I think liability increases because this person's fleeing. You got a helicopter overhead. You got authorities involved, and they're trying to elude capture. Now, this person's in custody, so it's a code 4 in this particular situation.
All right, Dennis Zine. Dennis, good to hear from you. Thank you very much with
anytime, Steve.
News and commentary from Dennis Zine.
That was great. I always wonder also what happens to them afterwards. I mean, we always hear about the pursuit, and then do they get prosecuted?
They get booked, and what happens, and a lot of people do. Occasionally we follow up with an interesting enough story to talk about. I know people get frustrated.
Because I'm like, what happens to these people when they lead police on this chase? Okay, a 15-year-old girl who investigators say was sexually abused by a former LAPD officer while she was part of a cadet program plans to file a claim against the city. Mario Ramirez is live in South Pasadena with all the details. Mario?
Lauren, Steve, good morning. That 15-year-old girl, one of 7 cadets arrested when that LAPD cadet program scandal broke over the summer. Investigators say she was sexually abused by this former LAPD officer. Take a look, 31-year-old Robert Kane, a 10-year veteran of the LAPD who resigned last month. Kane was arrested and charged with multiple sex offenses involving a minor.
This medical center. The name of the body shop, what's the name of the body shop?